Bonjour tout le monde. Aujourd'hui, c'est mardi le 23 janvier. Le mot de passe, j'ai oublié. J'ai oublié. Et TPR, you have these couple of new items to review along with some others that we've already heard. In order to use these TPR actions in our new story, we need to develop a new character. So you're going to do an activity called Créons un personnage. Let's create a character. Créons un personnage. Donc, vous allez cliquer ici. This will bring you to a Google form, but before we go there, I want to just be clear, we are going to make a character out of an inanimate object. So here are a couple of examples, like the cars from Cars, you're probably familiar with. Brave Little Toaster, maybe you're familiar with. I want to say it's from the 80s. It was something that I remember watching as a kid. So perhaps you have seen that, but I would not be surprised if Cars is a lot more familiar to you. But anyway, this is the idea. We are taking an inanimate object and making it animate, personifying it, and it's going to be two of them are going to be our characters in our new story. So we need to figure out what those characters are going to be. So that's where this Google form comes into play. So you'll just go ahead and put R7OL online. And you know what? I have a place to record your email addresses, but I didn't put your names in here. That's probably okay. So, il y a un une. This is where you have to decide what kind of object you want. I want you to use word reference. This is a great site. Just make sure it's not English to Spanish like mine is. You want it to be English to French, where you can look up just one word at a time. And it gives you a lot more than Google Translate does in terms of possible words. And so we're working with an inanimate object, but a good example of the reason that I like to use word reference is, let's look up the word fish. So if you're looking up the word fish and you mean that you want to go fishing, like I like to fish, well, you need to find the letter V, which tells you that the term it's showing is a verb. Now, in Google Translate, if you put in fish, it might understand that you are looking for the noun and give you the word poisson. So I might see somebody write j'aime poisson, saying that they like to fish, when really what they mean is j'aime aller à la pêche, ou j'aime pêcher, and that is the word for to fish as a verb. So the fact that word reference gives you noun, that's what that N means, verbs, and it even gives you idiomatic expressions, like if you wanted to say, a fish out of water. Some of these are kind of dated. Different types of fish. Fish and chips. There are a number of expressions that go along with the word that you searched that are here, whereas Google Translate is usually just kind of a one-to-one. You put in a word, you get a word. Whereas word reference gives you all kinds of answers, and you can find the one that fits the context you're looking for. So we're looking for an inanimate object, and I couldn't think of as good of an example, so that's why I gave you fish. But let's say you want to say, there is a cup. Again, make sure it's anglais français or English to French, and you can click it there. So you can say tasse. Now, the F here is also important. This is another reason why I want you to use word reference as opposed to Google Translate, because this gives you the gender. As we've talked about before, all nouns in French are either masculine or feminine. So the N here tells you that this word is a noun, just like in English. Cup is a noun, it's a thing. But the F tells you that it's feminine. So instead of saying un tasse, you would say une tasse. So you would say in your Google form, il y a une tasse. So there are going to be two characters, but I'm going to choose two different people's characters. So you just need to think of one here, and then tell me the rest of the information about that character. Comment s'appelle la tasse? La tasse, pardon. Est-ce que la tasse est grande, petite, ou de taille moyenne? Now, when you have these little period here, you add that if the item is féminin. So for my example, une tasse, we would add it. I wouldn't put elle est grand, period, I would just put elle est grande. I would add the to the end there because tasse is a feminine word, so I would make it a feminine character. De taille moyenne doesn't change. You don't have the optional at the end because this is the same whether you're describing something or someone that is masculin ou féminin. Il est sympa ou méchant. Les cheveux, les yeux. Qu'est-ce qu'il ou elle ou yel? Yel, I-E-L. This is a neutral pronoun. It's kind of like the they, them pronoun in English. Not they as in more than one person, but they as in a neutral pronoun as opposed to strictly masculine, feminine. So you can use this as well if you want to make a neutral gendered inanimate object, which kind of makes sense since it's an inanimate object anyway. So what do they like to do? Une activité. Again, you can go to word reference and you can use, hey, they like to go fishing. Again, if you look up to fish, you're going to see the noun first, but you know that you want the verb, the action to go fishing. So you can use either pêcher, like that, or aller à la pêche. Those are both options. And you would put that action, that activity, right here. You can also find des activités if you go to Schoology and you go to the top of our Schoology feed. There is a document called, come on, Master French Vocab. There it is, French 1 Master Vocab List. So this has some options for activities in it as well. So you can look at word reference for those, or you can look at our French 1 Master Vocab List for les activités. Quelle activité est-ce que la tasse aime faire? Quelle activité est-ce que la tasse n'aime pas faire? Et un animal de compagnie et quel âge? Now the last part is you need to draw the character, including these details like les cheveux, les yeux. You can even draw une activité, maybe something that shows them doing that activity, like for my example, like a fishing rod. And then you can also depict the animal de compagnie if you want to. And then you're going to add your file here. You're going to take a picture of the drawing that you make and put it right here. So you can also use Google Draw if you want to, so you don't necessarily have to use traditional pen and paper for that. Okay, so I took a while to describe that. Hopefully you're still watching. Hopefully you saw my example and my explanation of how to use word reference, because it really is a good tool that I want you to be able to use for as long as you take French, not just this year, but in years to come as well. So that is our one big activity for today. Aujourd'hui, demain, il y a la vidéo flip. So you'll have the TPR and mot de passe and your question de la semaine to use there as well. Merci. Au revoir.